Hello and welcome to our overview of the French student visa application process for spring and fall 2022 enrollment at the American University of Paris. I'm Jacqueline Oberdorster, Director of U.S. Admissions at AUP, and I'll be walking you through the steps required to apply for your French student visa from the United States and how to avoid some common mistakes that could otherwise end up delaying the issue of your visa. This presentation will be specific to students applying for a French student visa from the United States. So to check the process for your country, including whether the Campus France procedure will be required if you are outside of the United States, please look up your country's visa instructions on the France Visas website. So to apply for your French student visa, you will first fill out an application online with Campus France. So you'll make an account with their application portal, Études en France, or Studies in France, and then complete the online application form. Once the Campus France online application is complete, you'll go to their payment portal to submit payment. The next step is to make an account on the France Visas website and fill out an application form that you'll print and bring to your final step, which is an in-person visa appointment at a VFS Global Center. Your VFS Global appointment must take place after your Campus France online application has been processed, which can take up to 3 weeks. You will turn in some paperwork, including the France Visas printed application form and your passport. Your visa will then be created and attached to your passport, and they will be mailed back to you. If you will be under 18 years old when you arrive in France, speak with your admissions counselor to confirm if you should apply for a minor student visa. The minor student visa process does not use the online Campus France application, which is where most students will begin for their regular student visa. Minors instead will skip directly to the France Visas website and application form, which you will print out rather than submit electronically, and then they'll also go to the in-person VFS Global appointment. Minors will also need to bring some additional materials to their visa appointment with them, which will include things like a birth certificate, parent identification, and a parent travel authorization letter. For those that will be 18 and above, we'll continue with the standard French student visa application process, which does start with the online Campus France application. So you can submit your online Campus France application within about a month of graduating from high school. So if you are coming over for the fall enrollment, we do recommend that you do this in April or May so that you'll be able to do the next step, the in-person visa appointment in June. If you're planning on arriving at AUP for the spring semester in January, you want to be able to attend the in-person visa appointment no later than early December. So there are a few items that you'll need to have ready to upload to your online Campus France application. So it's important to note that all files say that they must be in the JPEG format and that the platform no longer accepts PDF files. However, I was able to just kind of go through on my dummy account and I was able to upload a PDF file. So I don't know if that's something that will no longer be supported, but they do tell us to have all students have JPEGs just in case. Your official acceptance letter, as mentioned here, for example, is located in your accepted student portal. So the same place where you got your admissions decision, and it's there as a PDF. So if it will not take the PDF, you will need to screenshot that letter and save it as a JPEG. The file size limit is not very large. So all files need to be under 300 kilobytes and your headshot photo must be especially small, under 50 kilobytes. If you have trouble uploading anything, it's very often a file size issue. So you can send a file to your admissions counselor if you need help resizing it. So again, you will need your official acceptance letter from AUP, your diploma or transcripts. So they're just going to be checking for proof that you have completed high school before arriving. If you are currently in school and high school and you're using transcripts instead of a diploma, these transcripts do need to list your graduation date. Your transcripts might not include your final grades, but they should include the semester before that. So if you're applying for the spring 22 semester, for example, then they should have your final spring 2021 grades. So if you're in high school and you have not graduated yet, what you will need to do here is submit a letter from your high school confirming that you are on track to graduate with a graduation date. So very important, do not upload transcripts that do not contain a graduation date. This is a very common error that may delay the issuing of your visa. If you're visiting study abroad or co-op student, or if you're a transfer student or graduate student, you can upload your current or most recent college transcripts instead. So high school is not required. You'll also need a resume or a list of activities, so very similar to what you submitted for your application to AUP. You'll need a few sentences to copy and paste about the reasons you're studying abroad in France, particularly in terms of your personal, academic, and career goals. Your statement should be at least 150 words, but does not need to be lengthy. You'll also need your passport ID page and a passport-like headshot photo. So you can take this yourself and just crop it around your head, but note again that it must be very small, a maximum of only 50 kilobytes. Okay, so this is the main Campus France USA page at usa.campusfrance.org. So at the top, you're going to open the Apply menu and then right-click on Students to open the page in a new tab. So this will bring you to a page that explains how to apply for a student visa. So we'll just scroll down. And then now you can see they've outlined the process into 4 steps and that it contains some helpful links. And since you have it open in a new tab, you can refer to it anytime if you need throughout the application process. You will need to come back to this page, however, after you complete the Campus France application in order to pay the fee. So make sure you keep this tab open. So for step 1, if you can click on that guide there. It gives you some helpful information, but however, this presentation right now that you're listening to will go over everything that you need to know. So it's not necessary for you to read through this guide, but it is there in case you want it. So in the meantime, we will need to go back to the other tab that you had open or usa.campusfrance.org to access the Etudes en France application portal, or you can just get there by right-clicking on the Campus France icon in the upper left-hand corner circled here. So once you do that, you're back on usa.campusfrance.org. You're going to want to scroll down and then click on the link that says Apply to Etudes en France. And then you'll see this main page for Etudes en France, and it may already appear in English or it may still be in French, but you can just click on that register with the pencil icon to create your account. Your browser might give you the option to auto-translate any of these pages from French to English, and you do not want the browser to do that, so select No or Not Now. This is another common error that could lead to your application not matching what you're about to see in this presentation. So instead, you'll want to access the English version of the page, which we'll be able to get to in a few pages. Again, the browser translation of French will look different than the actual English version of the website, so you'll need to select the English page option in order to follow along with our instructions, and I will show you where you can find that for each website, but they don't have it available for this one here. So on the registration page, you'll start with a drop-down menu for each country that uses Campus France. This menu will appear in French, but after we select the United States, there will be an option to change the page into English. In French, United States is États-Unis, so scroll down to find eSpace Campus France États-Unis. Once you have chosen Campus France États-Unis or United States, the rest of the page will populate, and then you'll have the option to change it to English in the upper left-hand corner circled there. Okay, so now we've switched to the English version of this page. The first 2 sections are your permanent email address. You'll type this in twice. The rest of the page will ask for basic information to set up your account. Information should match your passport, such as a spelling of your name, your gender, date of birth, and place of birth. The type of ID will be passport, and you'll enter the expiration date and passport number. Note that this form will ask for dates in the European format of date, month, year. You'll want to make sure that at least the first check mark is selected in the bottom 3 boxes. You can choose to receive email from Campus France about other opportunities in the second 2 options, but that first box must be checked. And then you will then click Create My Account at the very bottom. Once you've completed the registration for your Etudes en France account, you'll receive an email asking you to validate the account to the email address you listed. After you validate your account, and it might be in your spam, it sometimes goes there, log into your Etudes en France account. You'll then come to this page. So you're going to select Students Already Accepted, circled here. So the Etudes en France application can also be used to apply to French universities, which is their form for students not yet accepted. You've already been admitted to a university in France, so that's why you'll select Already Accepted, that second option. You'll also see your name and your Campus France ID number in the upper right corner. You'll need this ID number for the next few steps of the visa process, so copy this number down, or at least remember where to find it. It will also be called your EEF ID number, which stands for Études en France, and you will need it for other steps in the visa application process. So in the drop-down menu, if you are a first-year student, a first-year abroad student, meaning our USC, Tulane, and GW students, if you're a transfer student or if you're a graduate student, you will all choose I am not study abroad. So visiting students, by which we mean you're studying at AUP for just a semester or a year, and you are currently enrolled at another college or university, and you're not a first-year student, you will choose I am a study abroad student. So this is a quick look of how the page will look if you are a study abroad student. You should only be choosing this option if you're enrolled at another university and you're just visiting AUP for a semester or a year before returning back to that university. This is not your selection if you're a first year abroad or a first year gap year student, and we'll come to that in a minute. You can see here that you'll fill out your home institution in the US, so your host institution in France, which is AUP, and then describe your program. You can just write a very short explanation about your major and what you'll be studying at AUP for the semester or year. So now we'll go through the steps for students that are not study abroad and are coming to AUP for at least a full year or longer. If you are a one semester first year abroad student or a gap semester student, we'll come back to you in a minute. Full year and longer students, in the situation section, choose the second bubble, I am in another situation, and select other from the drop-down menu. Under program search, only students that are enrolling in a degree seeking program at AUP, so again, first year, transfer, graduate students, will search for a program in the catalog. So again, first year, 1 year first year abroad, transfer, and graduate students select I found my program in the catalog, and then click on the blue search a program in the catalog button. And then you will type in AUP to search. If you are an undergraduate student, you will choose the first option for the bachelor's degree program. Graduate students will choose the second option for the master's program. Choose your year of enrollment from the drop-down menu. If you are a transfer student, then you can estimate your year of enrollment. You'll choose Site de Paris, since that's the only campus option in Paris, and then click the blue bar at the bottom that says select the program to finalize the catalog search. Back on the program details page, make sure that the information all looks correct. In section 4, you can then fill in the start date of the program in the date, month, year format. So copy the date exactly from your official acceptance letter. Section 5 is your personal statement. Write a short statement about your motivations for studying at AUP and in Paris and how this will affect and help your future career goals. So we just looked at how to fill in the program details if you're a study abroad student, a degree seeking student at AUP, or a full year first year visiting student. So now we're going to look at what to do if you're coming to AUP as a first year. So you are not study abroad under the French consulate's rules, but you're only staying for 1 semester, not a full year. So this includes our freshman partner programs for USC fall semester and the Tulane spring semester. So you'll still choose I am in another situation and then choose other in section 1. But for section 2, choose I did not find my program in the catalog and fill in a short form, including a description where you can explain that you're studying at AUP for a semester. In section 3, you'll click to find your French institution and search for AUP, and then enter both the start and end dates to match the dates on your official acceptance letter. And then finally, just like degree seeking students, you'll write a few sentences about your motivation for studying abroad in Paris and how this will complement your area of study or your future goals. At the end of the program details, all students will upload your official acceptance letter from your AUP enrollment documents. Remember that this file needs to be under 300 kilobytes. So if your file won't upload, check the size. Here is an image of an official acceptance letter so that you can make sure you're uploading the correct document. So note that this is not the email that you received saying that you have received a decision in your portal. This is an official document that is in both English and French with a banner image at the top, like you see here. Under the header, Acquis de droit, you can find your program dates. You'll want to enter these same dates when your visa application form asks you for start and end dates. At the end, there's a paragraph about your housing to explain that AUP is responsible for your housing accommodation in Paris. The address is at 10 Rue de Musset, and the accommodation address you'll use later in the next application form too, so you will need to note that. Once you've uploaded your acceptance letter, you'll be taken back to the main page where your main study program in the first section should have the correct information and should say complete in green. To the right, you can see options to modify that section or delete and start over. You'll now move on to the second half, personal information. In this section, you will verify all the personal information that you already filled out when you did your initial registration is correct. So most of this will just autocomplete. For identity photograph, upload that passport-like headshot photo. So this can be a photo you crop around your face. And again, it must be very small, only 50 kilobytes maximum. In the second section, photo ID should be a photo or scan of the ID page of your passport. For the special status section, choose my situation doesn't apply to any of the above. Under the Education and Professional Experiences tab, upload a resume. So this can be a list of any extracurricular involvement similar to the list of activities you submitted for your admissions application. It is important to note that it must look like a resume and it can't just be a long text. So you do want to make sure it's formatted like a resume. Under Mon Cursus, identify how much education you've completed. Make your selection from the drop-down menu and then click the blue Add button. So the selection here is going to vary based on your own status and how much education you've completed. A menu will pop up for you to fill in your school information, either high school or college, depending on what you selected in the drop-down menu. Then they're going to ask you to upload a copy of your high school diploma, transcripts that include a graduation date, letter from your counselor that verifies that you're on track to graduate with a graduation date, or you can upload your college transcripts if you're a transfer student. Next is the language skills section. So the top question about proficiency exams is only asking about official French exams like the DELF. If you haven't taken that, then just skip that section. In level of French, you will only have some French education if you've attended a French immersion school or a French lycée here in the States. Taking a French class does not mean that part of your education was in French. So that second option, I have studied French, is for students who have taken some French as a class. Most of you will skip the stays in France section unless you've studied abroad in France before. And you'll then fill out your native language section. In the I have studied English section, you can choose native English or fill in what works best for your situation. Now, both your program and personal information sections should have the green complete notification. Click confirm the information and submit the application. Your application will be submitted to Campus France. However, it will not be finalized or reviewed until you complete step 2, which is the application fee payment. So I brought us back to that Campus France website that outlined the application steps. So you should have this open in another tab. If not, you can get to it by going to usa.campusfrance.org, clicking apply, and then click students. So for step 2, you're going to be linked to the Campus France application fee portal, which is where you're going to pay your application fee. You will need your Campus France ID to complete this step, also known as your EEF ID number, in order to complete the payment. Remember that this is the ID number located in the upper right-hand corner when you're logged into the Études en France application portal. It is very important that you complete this step. So your Campus France application will not be reviewed until you have submitted payment. I will say another common error is that students think once they submit that application, they are done and it's all set to be reviewed, but it will not be reviewed until you pay the fee. So once more, here's the Campus France website. So we have completed both steps 1 and 2. So we're moving on to the France visas part with step 3. This is also where any minors that will be under 18 and applying for the school going minor visa will join us and begin their application process. So after you click on that link, you'll click the blue My Account button in the upper right corner to create an account. You can also change the text into English using the drop-down language menu in the upper right-hand corner. Then click Step 2, circled there at the bottom, Start your visa application online. Step 1 is just a questionnaire to see if you need a visa. You likely already know you do, but if you have any special circumstances that you'd like to check, you can use the visa wizard there to enter your information and confirm your application procedure. Once you've clicked to start your visa application, you'll start with current nationality to match your passport, and then we'll scroll down. Next is place of submission. So this is the United States of America if you'll be applying from the US. City of submission will select which VFS Global Center you're going to visit. Visa type is long stay, even if you're a 1-semester student. You can round out your months of stay, and you can choose more than 1 year if you'll be staying at AUP for more than a year. For travel document, copy the details from your passport, including issuing country, passport number, date of issue, and expiration date. At the bottom, you're going to want to indicate that your plans are to study and that your purpose is student. And if you are applying as a minor, you will choose that your plans are to study and purpose is minor student individual stay. Then you'll fill out some basic information about yourself. And again, this should match your passport. So remember that dates are in the European format, so date, month, year. If you're a minor student, you'll also be asked to enter information about your parents. When it asks for the national identity number, you can skip that. You can leave it blank. So all the way at the bottom is the personal information section where you'll be asked about your job. So your job is student and the sector can just be other. It will ask for employer or teaching establishment, and AUP is your teaching establishment. So fill in our name and contact details. Next, it will ask if you've had a visa before, in case you've studied abroad in the past or have stayed in France long-term. Otherwise, you'll just hit no. Your start date here should match your acceptance letter. So the planned duration can be 12 months if you're planning to stay at AUP long-term. So you'll be issued a 9-month visa that you'll renew each spring, or you can enter a shorter term if you're only staying for 1 semester. EEF number, again, is that Études en France number, your Campus France ID number, which appears in the upper right corner when you're logged into Campus France. Études en France application we filled out earlier. And then you can answer no to the scholarship question since we aren't awarding state scholarships, and answer no to the travel with family question since you aren't all receiving visas together as a family. I will say another common question we get is planned date of arrival in French territory. Students ask if they can arrive before the start date. We can only have you put on the same date that's on your official acceptance letter. So that's the date you'll need to put in. And then when you attend your visa appointment, you can ask them if it's okay to start it early. We have no say in what the French consulate decides for that. So you do not want to buy your plane tickets if you want to arrive early until after you receive your visa in hand, just in case the date of arrival is exactly the date that's on your acceptance letter and not earlier. Okay, so for accommodations, select that a company, organization, or establishment will be hosting me. That organization is AUP, and then enter our contact details again, which you can see here on the screen. And then you can then select that your place of accommodation is different. And here is where you'll enter AUP's name once more, but then the housing address from the bottom of your official acceptance letter, which is 10 Rue de Musset. Again, even if you're going to be living somewhere else, that's still the address that we ask that you use for your France visas application. At the end, it will ask you about funding travel costs. So you should select myself here and then select what you'll be using to pay for AUP. You will need to bring financial details with you to your visa appointment. So we'll talk more about that in a moment, but this selection should match the type of financial documents you will bring with you. If you're paying out of pocket, you can select cash, or if you're using student loans, select other and then write in loans. You'll then be bringing bank account information and or your student loan details with you to your visa appointment. Okay, so on this final page, you should be able to see that each section is confirmed in green. You can then click on the pen icon if you need to edit anything on this page. If you're all done, click the checkbox to declare it is all correct and complete and select continue. Remember that you must print this application out and bring it with you to your VFS global visa appointment. So this application does not submit online like the Campus France one was. So back on the France Visas website, you completed step 2. So now go to step 3, submit your application. This brings you to a landing page for the United States with a note about the resumption of visa issuance and a list of VFS global centers with their operating hours. A few summers ago, when visa issuing restarted, VFS centers opened one at a time, depending on the stay-at-home orders per state. As VFS centers reopened, they were added to this page with notes about their operating hours. If at any time you need to check to see which centers are available, you can refer to this page. Further down the page, you'll see instructions for applying for a visa. Click the first button, whom should I contact, to find details about VFS global centers in the United States. You can see the 9 US VFS centers listed at the top and scroll down to find an address and contact information. You do need to attend a visa appointment in person, and this means you may need to travel to attend your appointment. So take note of which VFS location will be the most convenient for you. You can click book an appointment next to any location here, and they'll take you to the VFS Global website where you will create a new login and then book an appointment with any VFS Global Center. Remember that you'll need to follow these visa instructions in order. So you can go ahead and schedule your visa appointment after you submit your Campus France application, but your appointment must take place after your Campus France application has been processed. So you should be leaving at least a 3-week window between paying your Campus France application and then your Global Center visa appointment. So we would like for you to keep in touch with us about your visa progress. So let your admissions counselor know once you've submitted your Campus France application and when you have made a VFS appointment. So tell us the date once that is so that we can know that you're on track for arrival. When you attend a VFS appointment, you'll turn in your passport and visa paperwork, which will be sent to the French consulate in Washington, D.C. for your visa to be issued, attached to your visa, and then mailed back to you. So this process can take a few weeks. So keep that in mind as you plan ahead. VFS is going to email you a list of what you will need to bring to your appointment, but here's what you should plan to include. So both of the documents from your admitted student packet, which is your official acceptance letter and your certificate of insurance, the email from Campus France stating that your application has been processed, your completed and printed application from the France Visas website. When you complete that application, the website will also generate a registration receipt with a barcode on the top. So print and bring that with you too. You'll also need 2 passport photos, your passport, which should be valid through at least August of 2022 if you're coming in the spring, August of 2023 if you're looking to come fall of 22, and a photocopy of your passport ID page. I do want to note that they have since added one additional requirement. So along with the Campus France email stating that your application has been processed, you're also going to need to print out an electronic acceptance letter from your Études en France portal. So you can log on to Études en France or Campus France, and there'll be an icon for you to download this acceptance letter. So you'll need to bring that with you too. As we mentioned earlier, you will also need to bring financial information showing that you can cover tuition plus an extra 615 euros per month for living costs. If you are using loans at AUP and you've submitted your loan plan and we verify that your loans are all set, we can issue you a letter that you can bring to your appointment. If you're paying out of pocket, you'll need to bring 3 months of bank statements. If these are in someone else's name, such as a parent, we can give you a financial guarantee form that the account holder will sign to verify that you'll have access to those funds. You can also find the link to this financial guarantee form in the visa checklist PDF that we've emailed to you. Since your passport and visa will be mailed back to you. Also bring proof of your address, such as a driver's license or state ID. If you're under 18, additional items will be needed, such as a birth certificate, a letter from your parents authorizing your travel, and parent identification. If you'll be applying for the minor visa, make sure to talk with your admissions counselor so we can give you these extra instructions and details about what to bring to this appointment. So the France Visas website has recently begun accepting digital uploads of these documents. It is not a requirement and is optional. It will not expedite the review of your visa application, but it may help your in-person visa appointment go a little quicker. In either case, you will still need to bring paper copies of all your documents with you. And that's it. So there's a lot of steps involved, but we hope that this helps to explain what you'll need to do to apply for your visa. Remember that visas are issued by the French authorities, not by AUP. So this guide is intended to help you along the process as much as possible, but the process or fees due are subject to change. So pay attention to the websites that we mentioned and any instructions that you're sent by Campus France, your VFS Center, or from the French consulate. Once your materials are sent from the VFS Center to the French consulate, it's possible that they will email you if they need anything else. So make sure you watch your emails and let your admissions counselor know if they do contact you so that we can help. Your admissions counselor also should have provided you with a visa checklist PDF guide that includes these steps and some of the most frequently asked questions to help you stay on track. Please stay in touch with your admissions counselor and let us know as you complete these steps so that we can keep track of your progress. Your admissions counselor will particularly want to make note of when your Campus France online application has been submitted, when you have been notified that it's been processed, the date of your VFS Global appointment, and once your visa is in hand. We have our admissions email address here and the Campus France email address, and we hope that you're now prepared to get started. So we're so glad that you're going to be joining us, and we'll see you soon in Paris. À bientôt.